Hello, welcome to Swiss Industrial Black Metal Review. Borgne is the name of the band with an album called Why. The letter Y, not exactly a question. Why? So this band has been there out since 1998. Probably one of those bands that you didn't have a clue it was this active, yet it is here out none with ninth album. Or actually, technically speaking, this album is out 6th of March 2020, so not yet out, but will be very soon. Previously, this band worked with a little bit smaller lineup, but now it's operating as a three-person band. And like I said, the style is industrial black metal. The band basically has been active in later in 2000s, even though the debut album already came out in 1998. Especially years through 2007, 2009, there was like 4 different releases, of which 3 are full-length albums. Since then, the bass has a little bit kind of a slowed down, but still an album out every 2 years, basically. So, active band, but to be honest, I have not even heard of the band prior to this one, so guess this went a little bit under the radar, so to speak. Now that this band is gonna be playing out in Steelfest 2020, which I actually covered last week, this is very much of today. Like I said, the style is industrial black metal, and what it in essence means is that there are no real drums. Actually, some of the drum parts are very unmetallic in a way. They kind of represent more like techno music. But surely there are some drum beats which are very traditional black metal style. Now, even though industrial black metal has never been kind of a big in terms of being a subgenre of its own, there are quite a few bands doing the kind of a electric black metal, which in turn translates to more kind of an industrial sense. And usually that means the drum machine is used instead of a real drummer, and the sound is more like electric in nature. It's like electrified in a way. So you can kind of hear that with the guitar sound chosen, sometimes with the vocals being more or less kind of with effects. And obviously, drums are more or less unorganic, and it's the case with this one as well. Even though these some points reminded me of like a slower brother of Mysticum, because this is not as aggressive, not as fast forward, not so much in your face, not so intense. There's some similarities here. Also, this reminds me of some of those modern, more industrial parts of another Swiss band, Samael. So it's like somewhere between these two. And then again, also some of the keyboard parts remind me of Norwegian band Limbonic Art. So it's kind of like different elements put together on this particular album. Now, this one takes more than 65 minutes, so it's kind of a lengthy and as such kind of a burdensome experience to go through. Now, some of those keyboard ideas, I don't know if I can actually call them riffs, let's call them ideas or melodies, whatever. They are very dark in nature, and they kind of create nice dark atmosphere for this album. But then again, they are not unique, they are not one of a kind. They are pretty much the same kind of dark ideas built upon very simple ideas that, for example, bands like Dark Funeral has been doing with guitar works. So at the same time, it's kind of new and fresh, and also very much like recycled or more like reused. But this all makes actually quite a bit of sense here. Now, some of the songs being quite lengthy, I think it's a little bit hurting what this album could be. I mean, a little less could be a little more in case of those, let's call them fat parts, would be removed. You know, when some meat has excessive layers of fat and you want to trim it down, that's what should have been done on this album, in my opinion. it's not like a bad thing, but unless you're really fanatic about the music, unless you're really enthusiastic even about those so-called filler parts, it feels like this should have used that kind of a trimming. But overall, the dark feeling, the atmosphere is pretty much on spot here, and the vocals being a little bit diverse from track to track. I mean, there are clean vocals as well, but also some of those affected screams. It's pretty nice. It could have been more characterized in the ways that could have more of its sound of its own, you know. But it's not bad. It's totally decent, totally enjoyable, and all that stuff. And also, what I feel like the some of the best part of the drum machines used are when it actually doesn't sound like metal drums. Because with drum machine, you can just go explore those kind of territories which are impossible with, you know, normal, regular drums. But it seems like the band has been a little bit reluctant on that area. I mean, some of the parts are really much like way beyond just normal metal drumming, but some of them are rather traditional. It's kind of a boring because it's not having or taking the benefit of being machine versus man. Overall, I would say why it's an interesting album, but obviously you have to have this kind of a interest towards industrial black metal in the first sense. I mean, if that part is not integrated within you, I don't know if this album will make much of a sense, because obviously for some people it might be a kind of a deal breaker. It's like way too techno for me. Yeah, go back to your Venom albums. So I don't know. For industrial black metal heads, definitely a must-have album, but for the others, a little bit so-so. I think quite decent release with a nice looking digipack from Ladlow. So go check it out. There are samples online, and then you can pretty much figure out whether or not you're gonna need this nice digipack. Until next time, bye bye.